Hello, Nicole. Guess what I just realized?
What did you just realize, Eric?
I just realized that when I was making the intros for these shows, that it was like when I was doing them solo when I forgot to put you in it, buddy.
What else is new? The forgotten Nicole.
It's a
Can everybody
Nicole.
hear us correctly? I just want to make sure our audio is good.
Oh, yes,
'Cause-
is everyone,
Okay.
can everyone hear us? I hear
Yes.
yes, perfect, loud and clear. Yes, yes,
Perfect.
yes. If you're having an echo, it might be your the app. Just go ahead and like close out of it and restart it. But I'm seeing like everyone in TV Co says it sounds
Yep.
great. Let me check over here and make sure it sounds great. Sounds great. Okay, I'm gonna lie.
Ready.
We're gonna start again, Nicole. Ready?
Yes, I'm
I mean,
ready.
we're not doing the whole intro, but ready? Hey, Nicole. I am so excited for another postseason interview with one of our favorites.
I know. Someone I wanted to go really far, so I'm excited.
I know. I am very excited too. And of course, we are streaming everywhere for you guys. So no matter where you are listening, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, TV Co, wherever you guys are watching, make sure that you follow us wherever you are watching. And of course, share the show. However you share it, wherever you're watching it, it really helps us out when you guys share the show, either now or when you're watching it back in the future. Of course, if you are having trouble finding our shows because there are so many everywhere, you can head over to our website, hellofriendspod.com, and look at the show notes for this show, anything that we talk about, links, Ian's socials will be there, everything you can find on our website at hellofriendspod.com. Of course, if you have any questions, you can tweet us them with hashtag TVCoLive. But Nicole, what if they're
Yes.
listening to the podcast version of this in the future?
If you are listening to the show back, make sure you leave a 5-star review and share it with everybody, family, friends, your mailman, everybody you encounter.
Now, Nicole,
Yes.
somebody who I wanted to see work with you and you work with them,
Yes.
one of my favorite Big Brother players, you have to intro them.
I know.
That was me sneaking an intro in while trying to steal the intro from you, but I would never take it from you, Nicole. So,
And you know what's weird? I'm almost like starstruck, like nervous about this intro. It is somebody who in that house I wish I had aligned with better, I guess. I don't know how to even word that. I left too soon. But someone who is a class act in the real world, class act in that game, and just never ceased to amaze me in being a stand-up guy in the game and in the jury house. It is the incredible, the invincible Dirk. Oh, excuse me, Ian.
Ian!
Hey, thanks for having me on here.
Thanks for joining us. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Readjusting is going pretty well, so definitely happy about that. First few days back were a little bit crazy, but now it's starting to go a lot better, so I'm kind of happy about it.
Good. We love that, Ian. I'm sorry, Nicole. What?
No, I was just saying that's so good to hear because I know it can be a very strange, like, shock of an experience when you first come out there, especially, you having gone to jury, you were there the entire time.
Yeah, I was there for a good 6 weeks.
What was that like, Ian? What was that like? There was a little scare, Ian. I don't know if you're aware. There was a little scare for those of us watching the live feeds that maybe you might not want to go to jury.
Yeah, so I mean, I'll be quite honest about it. I definitely did not want to go to jury. I tried to play in such a way that I would either propel myself really, really far or like hit what I call like the jury bubble where you like miss it by a round. Like I wanted to take the gamble then so that I would either be in really great shape or just be out right before jury.
Mm-hmm.
It ended up, the idea actually did backfire, but I wormed out of it. So I ended up thinking like, oh, my game is actually like salvageable. I have a playable game. And then I ended up going first to jury anyway. So
Right.
It's kind of funny how that works. Universe has a cool sense of humor with Tyler and I both being the nominees for that first round.
Yep. And now having been in the jury for that long, do you now look at it as like, oh, it wasn't that bad? Or do you look at it as, darn, I wish I had gone out the week prior?
I think, when you're there, it's a little bit, it's not exactly the most fun thing in the world. But at the end of the day, I feel like it's good to have a say in the outcome. So that's definitely good. And also, it's just, it's not that hard to just sit in a mansion for 6 weeks, I guess.
Yeah.
It might feel that way because I just want to go home.
Yeah.
I just want to go home. But now I feel like it was good. It's a good intermediate period between house and real life.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, I know that, we wanted to talk. We wanted to kind of go through the season a little bit with you, with some fun facts. Of course, we're going to take questions from you guys. We have the TV Code chat open in front of us. Of course, we can see all the chats wherever you guys are. And I think one of the interesting things, but I feel like I need to let Nicole say it, happened actually on premiere night with you guys.
Yes.
Was there any alliance, Nicole?
So, Ian, this is something that we just spoke about with Kevin a few days ago.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that first night, premiere night? Obviously, me, you, Kevin were three of the people who won that first part of the HOH.
Correct.
And we were still behind the wall.
Yes.
And, Memphis had gone, Cody had gone,
Yeah.
Christmas had gone. Do you remember that moment?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Of course I do.
And
Definitely.
you guys called yourselves what?
Well,
we didn't call ourselves anything then.
Exactly.
So my idea was, and I'll be honest, I was a little bit of with Memphis, anything that Dan touched, I was very hesitant to work with, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. So it was when we split into the two groups, people that got their ball in and people that didn't, I was looking at him, and when I saw he was one of the people that got their ball in, I was like, dang, this is not so good.
Mm-hmm.
So my idea immediately goes to, one of us six is going to be the first HOH. So old school BB, and I consider myself an old school player, old school BB would say, you go to these 5 other people and say, yo, we're all good, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I was just a little bit too timid to say it until it was just her and Kevin. And I said, we should just if I get it, y'all are good, and any of the other people behind the wall are good. And I would have honored that. It's just, yeah.
And see, I would have honored it with you and Kevin, because
Right.
I know my kind
not
of
the other
similar
ones?
people.
Yeah.
Probably not the other ones. So
Fair enough.
me being more new school, when you proposed that, I remember sitting there going, oh my God. I'm one of those people, I don't leave receipts in front of other people. So I'm like, oh no, Ian's talking to me in front of Kevin. What do I do?
Yeah.
So I remember just standing there awkwardly.
Yeah, it's just, I think for me, I just definitely didn't want to be the first one. And I knew that being a previous winner, I kind of was going to have that target on my back. So I was thinking of it as if all 6 were there, maybe it would have been a little better than all 3. But I was just old school BB is just where my brain goes. I think the Surfboard Alliance from Big Brother 6, where, that's what my brain goes to. And I say, yo, one of us 6, we got our ball in. Most of us are probably going to be have-nots. So let's not make this even worse and start nominating each other.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And you were very, very close to that HOH. I would argue, I know someone was saying in the chat last week, had Cody not gotten it, you were a close second. You did that pretty seamlessly.
Yeah, I hit pretty much the last wobbly one that you could before they were all solid. So yeah, had I not hit that one, I would have probably won, which was my intention. That was one of the 4 competitions I actually put forth a full effort towards.
Right.
So we didn't always put a full effort, Ian.
Correct. I only tried in 4 of the games, or 4 of the comps.
Wait, whoa, wait, because Nicole tries at everything. I just suck. So which ones were you fully trying?
The ones I tried in were HOH 1.
Okay.
Yep. Safety suite, getting tipsy, because no one will fault you for winning that. The basement, because it's secret. And then the last one with the cans and the tweezers the week I went out, because I felt like I needed it.
Absolutely.
I was just really bad at it. So those are the only ones I really put forth a full effort in. The beer slide one, I would have been kind of take it or leave it. You just throw them and that's it. there's not really a ton of skill to it.
And now, was that more so because, okay, I'm comfortable, I know I'm not a target, or was it more so I don't want I don't want people to perceive me as a target if I start winning?
Not so much not a target. It was just that I felt like one of the things I needed to do was to sort of convince people that I wasn't as good competitively as I once was. And I heard that during the first week. One of the questions that would come up a lot is, how many times did you win HOH in your original season? And that's a difficult question for me, because anyone who has done their homework would know if you lie about it. So you have to answer honestly and say 4. And they're all at the back half. And when I hear someone like Cody say, well, that's going to be a problem, that starts to worry me. So I was throwing everything to look very weak.
That's a very good point. I remember sitting outside with Cody. I mean, I wasn't there long, so it was like week 1, and he was like, I remember you from last season. And I was like, she's so likable. Why would you take her to the end? And I was like sitting there with him like, oh God, this is bad. So that's a very valid point. Like when people are asking you about your season, you like kind of want to like downplay yourself. Whereas in the real world, you're like, yeah, I played a great game. I won. But in the house, you're like, I wasn't that great of a winner, guys.
Yeah, I really tried to downplay it. And I mean, there was, the thing was, when I was in the house, I noticed that Cody and then the two that were really not slick about it were Danny and Nicole F. I thought it was always really funny. Danny would be like, I honestly think you're like the best player of all time. Your game, it was so well-rounded. You had everything. You had comps. You had like everyone liked you and everything, which is, fair point. It's true. But I would catch her saying that a lot. And, on a regular season, you might get away with that. I call it like soft targeting. But in an all-star season, when I hear you say that, or Nicole say like, when did you first realize you're a genius? It's like you're soft targeting. You're trying to pin me.
Sure, 100%. I see a lot of people asking, and I know we've heard Nicole's opinion on this, but what did you think of winning that first HOH and the reward being you're punished, you're a have-not, you're isolated from everyone else? Congratulations on doing great on the first HOH.
Yeah, that definitely did suck. I do think that being in the have-not room, and with the have-not room being all the way upstairs on the far end of the balcony, I think that was like a really big detriment, and one that I think just went understated. Like that actually was a big time problem that I felt. We felt very isolated because a lot of that first week, getting in good socially, is when you're up late at night, you're just in the bedroom joking around, and that's just what it comes down to. And when you're have-not, you don't have that.
And also, that wasn't really the dynamic of our have-not room, because a certain person wanted to go to bed at 9 p.m. But
Correct. Yep, exactly.
So we didn't want to piss off said person.
It could have been the dynamic of it, but yeah, exactly.
I know, I was afraid to talk in there. I'm like, oh gosh.
And especially that first week where they were kind of stingy about turning the lights out until everyone was in. I was starting to feel real bad about that, because I knew he was, going to bed at like 8 o'clock.
Oh yeah. I didn't feel bad so much as I was legitimately scared for you guys. And I will like the funniest moment, and I hope that someone has this from the live feeds. I feel like you were asleep, Ian. Nicole, you kind of came into the room, and Memphis was like, these lights are bullshit and bad, and I'm going to talk direction. And Nicole, without missing a beat, was just like, can I get you tea? Or like, do you want like a hot beverage? And I was like, oh, Nicole, he's going to shank you. I was like, he is not happy.
And he would like look for us too. I know, Ian, wasn't it you in the HOH room? And he was like, Ian, get to bed.
Yeah, that's correct. And I was really afraid. I was like, what is going on here? Yeah. And then Danny was like, I don't think that was directed at you. I think he's more at production for not turning the lights out.
Yeah. But still, like, I don't want to be targeted because the man can't.
Yeah, exactly. And the other thing was, it was an adjustment for me, because, like I said, old school BB, we had light switches. So that was a bit of a surprise. We had light switches. It's just we had to turn them on during the day. So that was something that I was not used to at all. There are a lot of differences between this time and last time, and that was one of the big ones for sure.
Light
I did not notice that
switches.
they had light switches that I consider you still fairly recent. I didn't know they had them that recently. Wow.
Yeah,
See, I'm used
yeah.
to like, oh, lights out when they put them out.
Yep. Yeah, no, we had light switches, and it was just they had to remain on during the day. I'd say that was, as far as like living conditions goes, that was one of the bigger differences for sure. The curfew, that was an adjustment for me. You know, for me, BB is part of BB is sleeping in, and then the outside thing, because of, you know, the competition requirements. That was a big difference. Like on 14, if we didn't have the yard, like 6 days a week, that was an anomaly.
Wow.
I want to take a question over from the TV Code chat, Chickadee, who says, I really thought that the three of you were going to start an alliance based in that have not room. Were there more conversations that we didn't see? So, A, do you guys feel like you formed a sort of an alliance or an understanding that first week? And if you didn't, why do you think you didn't?
I think there was a bond. I felt for sure. I knew as soon as the nominations hit, I kind of had an inkling of which way I was going to go just based on that alone. And I felt like Kevin was someone I was definitely considering to work with because I thought he was a really underrated player. The thing that did worry me though was it kind of, I sort of noticed it felt like he was sort of like setting it up that he was going to be against Cody. And for me, I'm just like, I don't want to be in an alliance countering the HOH in week one because that just seemed a little bit risky to me. So for me, the way I saw it was for at least that first week was I knew Nicole F and him were going to be kind of close. So I wanted to just kind of buddy up with her as much as I could and see if being linked with her would be enough to get me through that first round.
Well,
and I would argue, from my perspective, I don't know if you felt the same way, Ian. Like I felt like, okay, I'm very similar to him. I take a while to kind of like warm up to people, so I was more so like, if I win power, he doesn't have to worry. I think he knows he doesn't have to worry.
Right.
But as we get further along, we probably would have gotten, I would hope so, you know, closer and more aligned.
Yeah.
But I think in the beginning, it was just very wonky, especially like you said, like, you know, you didn't really want to associate with people that like Dan was associated with. So I think the weird dynamic where like I was very close to Janelle and then Memphis was he with us? Was he not? So I know I always remember this one day that you walked into the have not room in regards to that first week. And I was like, oh, Ian, do you know how the votes are going? And you're like, yeah, I'm not sure if we might be keeping Keisha. And I was like, oh, really?
Yeah, no, yeah, for me personally, no, but I was not, I was like kind of, because Kaser was saying that to me.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's not the vibe I've been getting, but like, maybe he knows more than I do.
And that wasn't the vibe I was getting. So when you told me that, I'm like, is he working with Janelle and Kaser? So that I think it was just like a weird oversight that I know right before I went home. And I remember, like, you know, when I pulled you into the storage room, and I was like, I'm so angry because he's not voting for me, and I'm going to give Ian a piece of my mind, because I was, you know, I was having some days. And I remember talking to you in the storage room, and we just like, I think that's when we finally had our moment, or at least I felt like we did, when I was like, Ian, I'm probably going home. And I was like, just be careful. And it stuck with me so much, you saying to me, like, even if you're sitting at the cool kids table, you're still sitting with kids.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. And that's
like, really stuck with me.
That's the thing that I feel that a lot of the people, you know, I've read Twitter comments throughout the season. Something that just seems to be missed a lot, just on feed, and I said it many times on live feed, is I did not like what I called the Kids Alliance. I did not like the Kids Alliance. That was, to me, basically committee minus Memphis. I knew that Tyler was associated with them somehow. I wasn't sure how tight. I thought maybe he was like Cody's side piece, like I was Nicole's. But I did not like the Kids Alliance, as I called it. And you know, I said it on feed a lot of times. And I know when I was in Jury House, I said to Danny, I was like, I'd be in the DR all the time saying, I hate the Kids Alliance. I don't want to work with them. And Danny goes, well, why would you say that? We loved you. And I was like, well, you might have, but what good did that do me? I mean,
Exactly.
So
adjacent is very different from with.
Yeah, exactly. So like for Prime, I mean, I must have said, that was me, Cody, Nicole, and Danny. I said on feed, I was like, I feel like I'm getting jerked around again. I would say that all the time. And somehow people seem to think like I thought I was like tight, really tight with them. And I felt like I was tight enough that I had buffers in front of me. But I never felt like I was on equal footing. I knew that they let me name it so that I would feel like I was on equal footing.
But I think that's definitely what I sensed about you, like in the house when I, got the feeling that, you were one of the people that was going to vote me out. I was like, oh my gosh, he thinks he's good with these people and he's not. And talking to you in the storage room, I was like, oh no, he sees it for what it is. He knows the situation he's in, and you got to do what you got to do. And I really commend that.
Yeah, I think for me, it was really just the person of that group that I like really wanted to work with was Nicole F. And again, the reasoning there is I knew her from before, so there was a level of comfort there, and we were the only winners. So it almost wasn't like I want to work with her. It was we have to. And that's the thing is you're bound to me in the same way that I am. Like we don't have an option. So I always figured that the previous winner thing, which was one of my goals going in, was I was probably going to work with the previous winners. I didn't expect there to be only 2. But I felt like that was just, we were going to be compelled to working together. And that was the way I saw it.
Absolutely. And we are going to get more so into like your dynamic with Nicole F and everything. Sure. What I do want to say before that, because this way we go like more linearly, is that second week when Christmas saved you in the safety suite, was that a big shock like in that moment, or did you kind of know that's where she was going to go with it?
I kind of knew that's where it was going. Nicole and I had sort of had little discussions about that. There was a little bit of a tag team effort there. She essentially planted the seed. I flourished it. So that was a tag team effort that I kind of knew was in the works as of like Thursday night. So
wow.
Yeah. So that was something that I wasn't terribly surprised. Yeah, I saw that coming. Like when she won it, I was like, this is basically the second best outcome. Like I'm gonna be safe.
See, that's very interesting to me because I was sitting there like, who's she gonna save? Is it gonna be me?
No, as soon as I saw she won it, I was like, I just swarmed out of a jam big time.
Nice.
Yeah.
Which gave us what I think was one of my favorite moments of season, you getting your punishment or your punishment, as I like to call them.
Yes.
Dirk Space Jammer.
Yeah.
Which I would argue was one of the best punishments like in BB history. I think it was fun.
I had fun with it. I think with me, the punishments, I always take them pretty well. I liked the dog one on 14. And I thought that this one was really fun as well. I think it really sums it up when, I ask, hey, am I supposed to wear this for the Thursday night show? And they say no. And I'm like, why not? What do you mean? I wanted to. And they're like, wait, no, you don't need to. It's like, all right, well, fine. But yeah.
I loved watching you guys act out the scenes. I think I made like little mashups in my Instagram stories. I think they're still there in the bubbles. You have to like go back and watch them because they were hysterical. I just loved watching you act them out, fake being killed. And I always thought there was going to be 2 issues when I saw the cast and knew that you were on it, Anne. I know that you love a punishment, and I know that Nicole always has wanted a punishment, and I'm like, she's going to fight with him over the punishment. And I knew Nicole loves the hammock. So I am like, oh, those 2 are gonna butt heads over punishments and hammocks, but you guys did great with sharing both.
We did. Oh, I tried to get involved in the punishment as much as I could. Right. Ian, remember that one morning? Apparently, I followed you outside, and I don't remember being a part of it.
Yeah, I actually do remember that now. Yeah.
Everybody's like, Nicole, you came outside and watched. I'm like, no, I didn't. I must have been asleep.
I do remember that.
But the question is, who was your favorite co-star?
Yes, sorry.
I think Davon would get
Yeah.
really into it because she has like the acting background, acting coach, acting teacher. So yeah, working with Davon on that was a lot of fun.
I agree. I really liked watching you guys do it too.
It was great. It was very great.
Yeah, I had fun with that one for sure.
And I saw one other person say, is there any, because they, I think it was JP from New Jersey said that we know that Ian loves punishments. Was there any one from other seasons that you would have loved to have done?
I always liked Enzo's penguin. I thought that was like, I liked that one a lot. I thought that one was really cool. And as far as other punishments, I think that would have been fun to do. I mean, the dog was cool. Maybe was it an 18? Oh, I like the Patriot. I like that one. I like the American flag one. I like that one too. Yeah, I like that one a lot with like the little eagle puppet. I thought that, or whatever it was, that was cool.
So you're more so like you like the costumes and the leotard cards. Yeah,
for sure. The dog thing was fun. Actions, because you get woken up at night. Like that's just a little bit annoying, but like yeah. I mean, out of the three, I liked mine the best for sure.
Speaking of Devon, I see over on Twitch, Simia says, how are things with you and Devon now, Ian? Have you seen that she tweeted her love for you?
Well, I mean, Devon and I are good right now. I think she's kind of settling back in, as am I. But in the jury house, we really had a great time. We bonded. Me, her, and Danny were really close in the jury house. So, I mean, it was kind of like if there were cliques, that was one of the cliques in jury house for sure. I mean, we'd hang out all the time. And then the other clique was sort of Kevin, David, and I would say to a lesser extent, Tyler. And then Memphis came in. He was only there for a week. But those were like the cliques in jury house for sure. Yeah.
And speaking about early alliances, I see Emily Davidson over on YouTube says, Ian, was Janelle's connection to Dan a reason why you didn't want to align tighter with her and Kaser?
Yes, that was a motivating factor there. Additionally, when her and Kaser used the safety suite in +1, or use the +1 on her, it pretty much told me, just based on the fact they'd played twice together before, that they were always going to look out for each other before anyone else. Whereas I felt, again, with Nicole F, we are the only winners. So it sort of felt like a compulsory thing. It didn't feel like a want to. It felt like you have to work together. It's not a choice.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And I see in the TV Code chat, Lulu45 is saying, who's the one player that wasn't in that house that you wanted to see?
Eric Stein. 100%.
Oh, yes.
Eric Stein. I really wanted Eric Stein to be there. I hoped that I did not take his spot, and I know I didn't. He was not contacted, but Eric, I wanted Eric in there for sure. We would have had a lot of fun.
Yeah, that would have been really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
I want to take. Oh, did you have one, Nicole? I wanted to take one more from YouTube before we. Okay, just because I don't want to forget, and I want to address it now because I see a lot of people saying it in all of the chats. Obviously, it's not a secret. I'm going to take it from Mary Smith. So we all knew here in the real world there were tons of wall yellers. People like Nicole and Cody are working together. Blah, blah, blah. Mary Smith wants to know, did any of that affect your game?
Oh,
and then because you figured, a lot of people saw you sitting on the hammock, and obviously there was a lot of talk in the real world too, like Derek set people up, and a lot of people kind of used your light bulb moment on the hammock where it seemed like you were putting that together, being like, all these people were talking to Derek, and it's a lot of people use that a lot in the real world, I guess, is my point.
Right.
What do you want to say about that, about the wall yellers?
Okay. So I want to go ahead and start with this. I appreciate I appreciate the effort to throw some of us some help. However, if you truly care about the game and you care about the game's integrity, please don't do that.
Right.
Please don't. It ruins the game. If it was me in that spot,
Yeah.
I would have had a breakdown and I would have gone to the DR and immediately just tried to leave because and anything that happened afterward in my mind would have been tainted. And
Yep.
it would have really been a sour experience for me.
Mhm.
I appreciate the effort on it. But that being said, like it messes things up because for me it was always I know that Nicole and Cody are working together to some extent. Do I take priority or does he take priority? I know that Tyler is involved in this somehow. I know Christmas is involved in this big alliance somehow. There's something with Bailey and Dave on where I'm being told to target them, and I'm not quite sure that's accurate, but I can't quite sniff it out, and I really don't have anyone to verify that information with. So for me, when I get that sort of information yelled, it pretty much is just confirmation of what I was afraid of. And to me, that sort of represented just a hard line for me, in which case, like, I can't just sit here and take it at this point. There has to be some sort of forward action. And like I said, if you don't want to go to jury house, there's no better time than now to try to do something about it. So it's either I can gamble, and if it backfires, I go home the next week and I go home, or I gamble and it works in my favor, and then I'm propelled way further in the game because of that. So for me, it just confirmed what I knew, and it was a hard line that sort of set things in motion for me wanting to make a play, just take a risk.
Yeah, and before it confirmed it, because you said, like, you being close to Nicole F, you did kind of see, obviously, her being close to Cody. Did you think it was leaning more so a certain way, whether it be toward you or toward him, and then the wall yeller either helped you or hurt you?
Well, I mean, I think that the wall yeller gave me information for sure, and I think the information was helpful. In the end, do I think it helped my game or hurt my game? I would say it probably more hurt because our side never got power, right? So
True.
It kind of just, I had a hole that I kind of had to really dig myself out of in order to I really did a lot of nasty emotional manipulation to get myself out of the hole that caused. And so in the end, I think it hurt more than it helped, but the information was helpful. It's just the result was different. Now, as far as which way I thought it would go, again, I always thought it was not a question of does she want to work with someone or whatever. It was always like, we are the only winners. We have to work together. That's just what it comes down to. When push comes to shove, that's it. There is no Josh here. There is no Casey here. There's not other options.
No, that makes perfect sense.
I mean, I guess this leads to a very serious question, Ian. It is very serious. It is from Subjector Vision over on Twitch, which I will also say there are people watching in Twitch, Ian, that are also saying they hope you're gonna start doing Twitch shows again.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
The very serious question is, Ian, do you feel like you aligned with the wrong Nicole?
Again, it's sort of, I would say, it's
you
tough
did
to
not,
say,
by the way.
because, like I said, it was never we're the only winners. The fact that I was friends with her outside was like a bonus, right? It just really came down to the fact that, the way I think about it, there's an exchange of usefulness there. For me, it's a link to people socially, because she had a lot of social bonds going in that I did not have. She had the best table draw out of anyone. We all know she had more friends than anyone out of the cast, just upon entry. That's a fact. And what does she get out of it? Well, if she gets nominated next to me, I'm going to go every time. So it's sort of an equal exchange where we both are getting something out of this. And like I said, we're the only two winners. So it's just, we have to work together. That at least the way I always saw it, that was it.
And
Yeah.
speaking of like that dynamic and that closeness, one thing I do want to talk about is post Janelle's eviction, how close you became with Kaser, which is something that I very much would have liked to see continue forward with the two of you. You know, we had like your emotional hug where I think the whole world cried.
Yeah.
But you were two of the people in the house, of course, with Davon and a few others who had, I don't want to be rude to other people, but more meaningful conversations and more educational conversations and things that like the average viewer could watch and like learn from. And that's something that like you, Case or Davon, like I really respect as a viewer and as somebody who lived with you guys. Like you were aware that the game was bigger than yourselves. And I just want to take a second to commend that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Case and I really bonded in there. Like I said, early on, first couple of weeks, it was sort of like everyone was piling on against him and Janelle. Janelle and I, just from 14, I was hesitant. That's just really what it comes down to. Obviously, that was not well-founded. Looking back, that would have considered her a little bit more. But also, you keep in mind, considering her more means sending Kevin out, which that's something I wasn't willing to do. So, it was very difficult. Once the writing was on the wall and those noms were locked in on week 3, that's where I really started to say, all right, well, Casey's who I really want to play with. And I imagine we're going to be losing Janelle here. So that's when me and Casey started to really grow a lot closer. You could tell this with Janelle not campaigning to me at all.
I mean, throwing it back to Nicole for a second, because I think obviously it's another one of the big, topics or things that has happened. It is, for some people, it is a very sensitive subject. Other people are very passionate about it. But I think it is something that we all want to know. And it is, are you going to go to Nicole's wedding?
No, it's not. I mean, I never intended to. So, I mean, I'm actually traveling next week. So
is it next week?
No, for me, I'm doing a separate trip next week.
You.
But yeah, I have no intention there.
No, I mean, obviously,
I never did.
Obvious.
Not anything against either. It's just I don't really feel like, I've been to one BB wedding, and it was literally in Houston. So, yeah.
But Turks and Caicos is beautiful.
Yes, but I also don't really feel like footing the bill for an entire trip to go down there, right? Like that's sort of.
I hear you.
I wish the best, but that's just really what it comes down to. And I'm busy. I'm trying to get back into work.
Right.
Things like that. My life priority right now.
Well, I mean, I was really, I know, I mean, a lot of people were asking that question, but I was just more trying to ease us into, one of obviously, for real, the big thing that has been talked about a lot this season in the real world. And obviously it was the Memphis and Danny and Nicole conversation in the, I think it was the key room where they were laughing about, you and the rocking and things like that. So I guess the first question to ask is, have you seen that footage yet?
I did watch that footage. I watched some of the other footage as well.
And what is your feelings on it?
I mean, it definitely stung, for sure. It's special, not. I mean, I think Memphis said the worst things out of the group, but like I also knew that me and him didn't get along. So with him, it's like I sort of expect that, right? Danny told me about it in the jury house though, before we knew that the backlash was quite as large as it was, right? I mean, she knew of this being something that was a possible incident, but none of us knew the magnitude of it. I was very surprised at the magnitude of that of the response towards that particular incident. So Danny told me about it when we were in the jury house and apologized there, and apologized for saying things like, he's using this stuff as a strategy. She apologized almost the first or second day she got to jury house. So with her, I really appreciated that for sure. Yeah.
So because, we just saw the ET interview just came out, I think, in the last day. And, we saw Nicole say that you're her number one concern and that she has reached out to you and spoke to you. So, personally, I feel like I have to ask because we have to ask, but I'm also from the mindset of these issues are between you guys as individuals. But is there anything that you want to say about that to the people who are looking for an answer? Are you guys okay? Are you working towards being okay?
I think that, obviously she did apologize. I accepted the apology. That being said, it is to just say, okay, well, we're all good now. Yay. Is not quite accurate. Time will tell on that. It's just, there's a lot to the whole situation, a lot to it that, that exists. That's just the reality of it.
Yeah. I think a lot of us in the moment, and I'll totally give it to you, Nicole. I think a lot of us in the moment felt for you. And I think there are a lot of us who suffer from, similar disability. So to see that happen on a show that we loved, I think affected a lot of us. And now I think a lot of us also understand, sure, there are game elements in there, not that is an excuse, but now I also think I think those of us that were hurt by it are looking for is for actions to come out of this more so than words or apologies. Like, I hope that we're going to get to see, awareness being raised, hopefully by Nicole on this. Like, I think there's a lot of good that can come from the bad of the situation. And personally, I just hope that's what happens with it. But go ahead, Nicole. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I think what shocks me more is the fact that it is an all-star season. So, not that you should be more cognizant, but you should be more cognizant when cameras are on you all the time. What the reception is like in the real world when you exit the house. So I think it's even more disappointing when it's all-stars. And I think, we did ask about Danny and Nicole. I would also ask, have you heard anything from Memphis? Has he reached out or tried?
It was kind of brought up at the jury house. We had conversations about it. It was, I didn't feel like it was, like I said, me and him really didn't get along. So I was just like, him saying he's gonna, if he saw me at the end of his bed, he'd kick my teeth in or whatever. That I was just like, what,
I don't think that I need to tell you this, Ian. I am sure that you know, but when I tell you, like, countless comments, countless things in all of the chats, so many messages that we got beforehand just from people saying, please let Ian know that him telling his story about autism on that show helped us so much. I know Top Gun Phantom in TV Co Chat was one that said it, that it's not often that we see people talk about things like that on, definitely not on Big Brother. So I hope that, there are, those moments as well that came out of it, that, the overwhelming feeling is you helped so many people just by speaking about it on the show.
Yeah, and I felt like it was actually a really good conversation. I feel like I think with Kaser and I felt like it was really good for just like representation, visibility, and also just destigmatizing that. Like we had said in our conversations, it's not even, we don't even, for us, we just see it as a different ability set if we process it correctly, it can be really useful. It can be really powerful. So
yeah. And
definitely
I mean,
liked the destigmatization there.
Absolutely. Yes.
yeah.
And there's just such an outpouring of like love and gratitude in the chat. And I just want you to know that, Ian.
Yes, everyone's going to yell at me if I did not send like the amount of emails we got before the show. People were like, I don't care what questions you ask, but you just better let Ian know that. I was like, okay, we're gonna.
It's happening.
Yeah, I've seen it, and that's the thing is I was really pleased to see that the vast majority of response I got this year was positive. I know before I was leaving, like I was like going through like, the prize list, right? Like, first prize gets this, second prize.
Yep.
It's like America's favorite player. And I remember saying to my girlfriend, it's like, forget that. There's no chance. No way.
There was a chance.
There was a slim chance. I mean, I'm really glad they won it. That's who I wanted to win that. Even in the jury house, I said, I hope you get it, when it was just the two of us there. But that being said, yeah, I mean, it was nice to see that I was well received this time around, especially in an all-star cast.
And I'll be upfront with you. You're somebody I was like, oh yeah, Ian was a good winner. But having lived with you and seeing the way you work, I was like, damn, now I get why he won. And it's very impressive to watch.
Yeah, I'd say that the way I play is it's sort of unfortunate because it got kind of like snapped off a little early, little weird sequence. It happens. It's BB. But yeah, I mean, it's a really slow burn for me, and just the way that I tend to play is very, very passive. I like to latch on to one person that can kind of break things down for me in terms of just the social interactions.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I just try to think of it in a just quantitative terms. And do I have buffers ahead of me? If this, then what? If this, then what? If this, then what? And I just try to play that way. If I see an opportunity to take a big risk, the way I've always thought about it is that 16th and 3rd are still evicted. So that's just the way I've always played it, and I try to think of it that way.
Aw, I like that. And I mean, speaking of the if this then that, if this then that, everybody and their mother was nominated the week Danny was HOH.
Correct. So that's what I said. I was like a 4th string nom. I was like, you know what? This is how it ends. Because like I said, I plan for certain eventualities.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when I gambled it up in late week 4, I said, if this backfires, this is my plan to get out of it. This is what I'm going to have to say. This is what it is. I'm going to use the wall yeller as plausible deniability. I'm going to use that as part of my strategy to get out of the jam. And that was all something that I had thought of before I did that, in case what happened did happen.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a nomination against Tyler was something that never came up in my, okay, if this person wins, what would happen? If this person wins, what would happen? I was sitting next to him and I was like, how did we even reach this point? Like a lot of people,
all of Twitter was like that.
I remember saying like, people say like, are you, in jury? It's like, are you mad that Nicole backstabbed you? And it's like, I'm not really so much mad at that. It's more of like the question of like, who the hell gave her a knife? How did that even happen? How did we even get to this point?
Yeah.
Well,
and
I was just going to say, if we ask BB Queen K over on Twitch, he says, Cody pushed for Ian to go. Cody gave the knife. But speaking like you said, Nicole, of the, if this, then what, I have another hot topic question. Ian, by now you should now know they're never hot topics. But it is very important, and people want to know, Ian. There has been a lot of talk about this. There has been a lot of arguments, some even between Nicole and I about this, Ian.
Oh, gosh.
Can you please tell us once and for all and set the record straight? What was this a pumpkin carving of?
I know what it is. I think I know.
Okay. So I will say, Danny kind of messed it up because hers wasn't a carving, so they had to use the photos taken during the day. At night, it's very, very clear that is the duck from the swimming pool that they would put the chlorine in. So it's the little duck with sunglasses.
Oh, Nicole, what were you going to say? Because I know. No, you just said you knew what it was, Nicole. What did you know it was?
I'm just gonna put on my chapstick. No, okay. I really thought it was. I feel so stupid right now. I really thought it was Isaac. That outline looks like his little face and his little hands and his little body.
No, it
Look
was.
at that.
I'm possibly. I mean, I've got him right here, and
Isaac.
like it's maybe. I guess I could see maybe a little bit of a resemblance, possibly, but like I would say no. It's the duck. It's the duck from like they put in like commercials and stuff.
I'm looking at the cutout space, but if you look at the rest of it, I do see what you're saying now. So it is the duck.
Yeah, when it was dark and lit up and like much more yellow, it was much more apparent. It's just that Danny didn't carve a pumpkin, so they had to use the daylight picks. The night when it was night and lit up, it was really obvious what it was supposed to be.
Oh, that's cool. I would have liked to see it at nighttime. Darn it! Yep. Wow, I really thought I knew what it was.
Not Isaac.
I want to ask one more question. I'm going to take it. I mean, we got it so many times and I can't find one that I can pull up over here. I'm going to take it from Maximus Mom in the chat just because I don't want to forget to ask it. It was one of the questions we got asked the most beforehand. Or Denise Kelly on Facebook says, Kevin was on the show earlier in the week, Ian, and he said you tried to escape jury, that you were climbing fences, Ian, that you got like trampoline shoes and were like jumping over. What do you want to say about that, Ian?
So I will say, I mean, there's some embellishment here.
From Kevin.
Here's what I will say. I did have a habit of late at night standing near the gate, and there was like a small crack in the gate, and peering out of the gate. That was accurate. I had a couple plans of like, basically it was more of a game of like, if I really wanted to escape, let's say there's no COVID world, right? If I wanted to try to make a break for it, how would I do it? I would often like come up with these, like, it's just a way to pass the time of just like these elaborate plans of like, if I wanted to get a phone, this is how I do it. If I wanted to escape, this is how I would do it. And obviously, when you have someone saying that, it kind of gets people worried that you're actually going to do it. Obviously, I'm not going to risk, anything by doing that. Also, in a COVID world, the reality of it is, what's the end game here? But I mean, there were a lot of times where I just wanted to go stand near the gate and peer out. And there are times where I thought about just walking, but I mean, it's just, I think realistically, it's just not something I would ever do.
And did you ever see anything eventful looking through the gate?
No, I never saw anything eventful. I will say, we had a telescope, small refracting telescope, the night that the Lakers won the championship. We were able to get the Staples Center in view and see confirmation through the telescope that the Lakers had won the championship through the lighted, I guess you call it like a jumbotron type thing on the Staples Center.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I love that. I also just have to say, because I find them hysterical, CA over on YouTube says, Ian and Nicole, you're both my favorite Big Brother players! ! And Eric, you're Eric.
Yeah.
Just gonna let you continue, Nicole.
That's a little awkward. Ian, in the TV Co chat, Melanie is asking, what was the most shocking thing upon leaving the house? So I don't know if she means in jury, what was the most shocking, or literally after the show. So I'll ask both. What was the most shocking thing in jury and the most shocking thing in the real world?
I think for me, the Trump getting COVID thing, hearing about that was kind of like, what the hell? That was a bit of a surprise. Like I said, I think that was for that one. And as far as the show goes, we never really could, even in Jury House, track who those two votes for Janelle were. We couldn't quite figure out where those hinky votes were from. Danny admitted to being one of them, but we thought the prevailing opinion in Jury House was that it was Bailey. So to come out and find that it was Enzo of all people was a bit of a surprise.
Enzo was throwing votes everywhere.
I know. I thought it
on
was
the
really
stage
funny.
and thought, Kevin and Janelle voted for me, and Julie was like, it was Enzo. I was like, what the hell?
I mean,
Okay.
really, really random. But I mean, that was my thing. I'm like, gonna go to Wikipedia, gonna pull up that little table that they have with like the nice head of household is green and nominated is blue. I'm like gonna pull that out and see. And then when I saw it was Enzo, I was like, what in the world here? In the first two of the first 3 rounds, he's throwing a hinky vote. I thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I mean, we thought, because we didn't even know he was going to do it when he did it on Nicole's eviction. We were like, oh my God, is Nicole staying?
Yeah. Really funny. Really funny stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And Ian, what I do want to ask, in the Jury House, who was the one person you're like, I hope they follow me out of there? And who was the one person you're like, I don't want to see them. I want them in the final 2?
So I think it sort of progressed as like when Dave on, I was hoping to see Tyler do well, because upon me leaving the house, I thought that Tyler was the one playing the best game. And then once Davon came in, she was very, very big on the idea that it was actually Danny who was playing the best game, and she kind of sold me. She kind of sold me on that idea. So I was like, really, Danny? And then she explained it, and I was like, because my opinion was Danny had made a mistake sending me out. I thought it wasn't really a great play for her.
Wasn't? I don't think.
And then when she came and told me new information, I was like, okay, so I guess I don't want to see Danny. So then Danny shows up, and it's like, well, now I don't want to see Tyler because it's back to my old theory. And then we see Tyler, and then I was like, I don't want to see Cody now because I thought he was the best player of those left. So when he never came, I was really happy about it.
I see, obviously a ton of people want to know about the different voting options. I want to just throw them out to you as scenarios quickly, but I'll start with this from Destiny's in the TV Code chat, who says, did you ever consider voting for Enzo to win, or was there anything Enzo could have done to get your vote?
Yes. So at least in my opinion, and I felt like this was eventually the opinion that a majority of the jury took, was that it was essentially if Cody was in the final 2, he wins. That's it. If Enzo wins the final HOH and clips him, Enzo wins. If Nicole wins the final HOH and clips Cody, Nicole wins. That was really the prevailing opinion there, at least from what I took of a majority of the jurors, and that was also the sentiment that I felt. So yes, if Enzo wins the final HOH somehow and evicts Cody, I think Enzo would have won the game. It would not have been unanimous by any means, but it probably would have been about a 6-3 type of decision, something like that.
Okay, so in all scenarios, the person who cuts Cody, it gets the vote, we think, from jury. Okay, what if it was a Nicole and Enzo situation?
Whoever cut him.
Whoever clips Cody.
Oh, right, whoever clips Cody, duh, obviously, because it's
and then
Nicole.
If Cody's there, Cody wins.
If Cody's there, then Cody is getting my vote
Duh.
in either scenario. Yeah.
Okay. And then, so if somebody else won and brought Cody, too bad, Cody wins.
Cody wins, then that's their mistake. Yeah.
Yep.
Interesting. I see a lot of people also saying, I'll take it from 4Z Ville on Twitch. Basically, I'm just going to summarize the question for them. A lot of us were confused because when we were watching the show, and I don't even know if this is something that you can answer, but obviously we saw Nicole and Danny together a lot, like they're making all the plans. Then once we were watching the jury house footage, it seemed like Danny switched from being team Nicole to team Cody. But it was almost never explained to us as the viewer. So I think what a lot of people's questions are is, can you shine any light on that? Do you have any opinion why, or did it? Was it just editing? Do you feel that Danny switched over to Team Cody, and do you feel there was a reason for it?
Well, so I think with both Danny and I, and I don't know, I have not seen jury footage. I really don't. You know, if I do, it will be a long time after anybody cares about this anymore, so I won't be speaking on it. But what I will say is the prevailing opinion for me, and I believe Danny as well, was that we wanted to vote for the best player to win the game, period.
Right.
And both Danny and I felt that that was Cody, regardless of any personal opinion towards Nicole or Enzo or anything. We felt that Cody was playing the best game because the thing that Danny and I talked about a lot was that Nicole came in with 3 really good social bonds, and then a few that were kind of started, but like would maybe need a little bit. Like there wasn't any other than Christmas. She really didn't build anything from scratch in the house. That was sort of a prevailing opinion that came up and between Danny and I, whereas Cody built in-house more relationships from scratch. He was not quite as well connected. So that was something that came up. She also said that she was very close with Cody and that he became her friend in there, whereas Nicole, it was friends before. So for Cody to build that in-house spoke to how how well he was playing.
Right.
That's really interesting. And I do have to I have to address this because Dylan in the chat is getting very passionate and wants to know. Forget about all this. What are your thoughts on Keisha? You two got along. You talked about pets.
No, I mean I did really like Keisha.
Yeah.
I thought she was really fun. It just came down to I felt strongly about keeping Kevin. I said I was not going to actively contribute to eliminating POCs in the first couple weeks randomly. I said that to myself before coming in. And then additionally, it's just that the wall, being the people behind the wall and having gotten their ball in, I felt that there was some sort of, kind of owing it to that because I did bring it up. So that was really what it came down to for me in that first week.
Interesting. I have to say one of my favorite moments of the season, which of course we know is all in good fun, or maybe I shouldn't speak for Ian, I should let you answer, but I have to say it was one of my favorite moments, Ian, that Jackie knows over on YouTube is commenting on, says, Ian, we enjoyed your head shake when Julie said to apply for Big Brother. I don't know if you saw it, Ian, but Julie was like, applications are now in for Big Brother. And then there's just you in the background like, which I was like, facts. Which I have to say that was very funny. Did you want to say anything about that?
I mean, I will just to set the record straight. I was being facetious on that.
Yes.
I would say that as someone, your first time experience, there is that novelty to it, and I found that to be in the moment really fun. Looking back, it was very stressful, but I did have a really good time. This time, I sort of went into it with the mindset of this is I'm here for sport, so it's not like I'm here for the experience. I'm here for sport. I'm here not to win the money, but I'm here to win. And I sort of was looking at it as like your job is to win this thing, not for the money. It's for the sport of it. You're here for sport, and it's anything other than first place is a fail. And I think that was a mindset that was, I think maybe that kind of puts a little too much pressure on it and made it less fun for me. But but the novelty of it the first time, I will say it is fun.
And that's exactly what I have said. When people say, should I apply? I go, no, actually, yeah, like your first time, it's an experience. And yeah, it's like childbirth. During it, you're like, this is horrible. And then after, oh my God, that was so amazing. And like you said, I always say this season was a lot more like a job. I feel like everybody entered it with their briefcase and they're like, don't look at me. We're not having fun. We are playing a game to win. Leave me alone. And it was very, very different.
Exactly.
Yeah,
100%.
there was no fun this season. But I wanted to I want to take a few more questions because some people have waited such a long time, and some of them are a lot of people have asked, like this one from Alette Morris, who says, Ian, when people were on the block, you gave them percentages on how you were feeling about keeping them. Example, 60-40. Was there strategy to this, and how honest were the percentages?
There was definitely strategy to this. That being said, I do feel like the percentages were more often than not pretty accurate for me. What it kind of just came down to was I was trying to build up this persona that I was really just a straight shooter. I was honest. I wanted to also kind of build up the percentage or not percentage, the persona in competitions that I, now that I'm almost 30, I can't compete as well as I used to. So I wanted to get people on that front. So for me, it was more of I don't want to say, oh, this is what I'm doing, and then go back on it and then change my mind later. It was just a way of me giving some idea of where they stood without just outright saying it and risking having to go back on it. And then they'd be like, well, why did he do that? He said this was good. I wanted to play it like, oh, he's someone who's really straightforward.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind working with him later.
Which I would say worked. I mean, from my perspective, I very much respected you being a straight shooter and be like, well, Nicole, right now I'm not leaning towards you. And then you would talk to me like, oh, I'm leaning more. It's like 60-40 now. And I was like, good, at least he's shooting it to me straight. And that's something, if I do end up staying, whether he votes me or not, I respect that he was, that's just the kind of game I play. I respect very upfront. Are you voting for me or not? So I would definitely say that definitely worked. And I think it earned you just like a mutual respect across the board with a lot of the people in that house.
Yeah, that was the intention of it. Was I felt like it was a little bit too early to just start promising people things, and then it was I didn't want to have to go back on it and then start dirtying my name for no reason.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see a lot of people asking, have you spoken to Brittany Haynes since the season has ended?
Yes, we did share a few texts right when I got out of the house. Obviously Brittany is a really good friend of mine, and I think you kind of see with her, there is this idea. I know it was kind of discussed a lot online. It's like, well, like Brittany voted for Ian in the end because they were really good friends, and that was why that happened. And part of that was, I mean, she was someone who in the house I knew she was going, but I still gave her that vote. That was just like an unbreakable thing, right? Like an unbreakable commitment towards always voting for the other one in there. And I think in the game, I mean, she was the best ally I had between the two seasons for sure.
I love that.
Even when I knew the vote was going one way, I still was going to vote to keep Brittany no matter what, and stick my neck out really for no reason other than just this is a vote of support and that's it.
Right. Well, Ian, we love that you have taken some time to come here and chat with us. I mean, first and foremost, I have to say that I'm going to take it from Chasing Gab over on Twitch, who says, really are a stand-up guy, and I love rooting for you.
Thank you.
And it was great having you back on Big Brother.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. It's great to be on the show. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sorry, Nicole, go ahead.
I want to get like because you're so like articulate and everything, I want to get a final statement of like this season of All Stars was.
I would say this season of All Stars was stressful to play, but I feel like I came to an understanding of how I feel about playing Big Brother. Whether I really, I always said I wanted to do it again. I wanted to do it again, but there was always a question to me deep down. It's like, do you really want to do it again, or is it something you just feel compelled to do again? And I feel like I kind of learned that it's I don't like I don't like certain aspects of it, but I will say, it was great to be considered an all-star, and that I really appreciate it. Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I just have to interject this from TV Code Chat. Courtney J says, I wonder if Ian knew there were thirst trap pics of him from this season. And people are using shirtless pictures of you on dating apps to try and get the ladies.
That's pretty funny. I did not know that was
I didn't either.
But go figure.
I know. I'm sorry, Nicole. Go ahead. I know you had a final.
My final thought is you may not be feeling the whole Big Brother thing, but we know you're feeling backgammon.
Yes,
I played you, and I want to know, did you go easy on me?
No. So in chess, I did. In chess, I went easy on everyone in there. But with backgammon, it's sort of just muscle memory. So I just kind of know what to do automatically. So it's pretty much like I physically can't throw a game of backgammon like I can chess.
Oh, interesting. I feel like it'd be smarter to throw chess than to actually win.
Right. And I did throw a lot of the chess games I played. Like I know, like I was up material in a lot of the games, in which usually, most good chess players know even being up one pawn on your opponent is such a significant advantage that, especially in a mid to late game situation, that's enough to warrant resignation on the spot. I would lose games where I was up material just to lose chess. But backgammon, I can't physically throw backgammon because it's just muscle memory. It's automatic almost.
But you played chess with David a lot. Are you saying because we're gonna be talking to David
and Kevin as well. And actually, I thought it was really funny because I did see like Janelle and Casey were like, David is smart. He beat Ian in chess, and it was like on a Twitter post, and I was like, it had the exact effect that I wanted it to.
Wow.
Yeah. With who else would I play? Memphis. There was one. But I will say, Kaser was that guy. I couldn't beat him if I tried. That guy was good at chess.
Oh,
I never played you in chess. Chess scared me, and then that board was all uneven. It made me crazy.
Yeah. Memphis, I threw. Day I threw, and then David and I play a lot, and I wanted to make sure that the record was close to 500 there. But yeah,
that's really interesting. Damn.
I have to say, I hope you come back on Twitch. And I know you said you will soon. I see a lot of the Twitch people asking it. I think forget about playing Among Us. I want to play backgammon. Why can't we all just have online backgammon?
So I am gonna start doing Twitch with backgammon soon. It's just right now I'm just kind of readjusting to everything, and obviously I'm going on a trip next week. So after I get back from that, I'm going to probably be in good shape to get everything back up and running. Had to brush off a little rust as well. Had to get back and play practice games against the computer before diving into any sort of serious play. But it seems like I'm back on the right track now.
Have you played any Among Us yet since you've been? I mean, it really became popular, I feel like, while you guys were in.
I have not. I've just been really busy. So, no Among Us. I'm still not sure I understand the concept based on what I've heard, but
it's Big Brother.
Big Brother. It is Big Brother.
It is.
It's literally basically Big Brother. You just try and convince people to vote out your friends.
Okay, interesting stuff.
It is. It's very funny. And well, here's what I want to say. For starters, where do you want people to follow you on social media? Like I said in the beginning, if you guys go to the show notes under this show on our website. Of course, we'll have the links to them. But for the people that are listening to the podcast version of this back, Ian, where would you like them to follow you on social media?
So on Twitter, that's going to be at Tulane Terry, Tulane, Terry, Terry. That's all one word. And then for Instagram, that is Ian P. Terry 14.
Love it. And what about your Twitch?
Yeah, Twitch is going to be, we can do Twitch.
Yeah, we
so
have
that
to. We've
is
been
twitch.tv/Tulane Terry. So same as the Twitter handle.
Okay. We will put them all on this. Ian, is there anything that you want to say to all of your fans who came out here across all these social media platforms tonight to hear from you? The floor is yours.
Well, I got to say thanks for watching and thank you for supporting me on this season of Big Brother, even if it was shorter than I had hoped it would be. But I really appreciate it, and thanks for the support and thanks for showing up.
Nicole, final thoughts?
Likewise, thanks for showing up and being so open and willing to answer even some of the more questions. We really appreciate it. Everybody in chat appreciates it. And you're amazing. Like I said, I always thought you were amazing, but having lived with you and seen the way you work, you're just incredible.
Yeah, well, thank you. I appreciate it a lot. It's really fun being on.
Well, don't go anywhere, Ian. We will see you guys all back here tomorrow, same time, 8 p.m. with Tyler. We'll see you guys all then. Bye for now, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys.